Is it me or is that intro going to be a little longer? It's a little longer than a minute. I don't know if that was just me. I mean, it's good. I like it. But yeah, it was funny. I felt like it kind of like double backed a bit. I don't know. But all good. We're here. Welcome, everybody. We are ready and raring to go for another QSC DJ discussion with some of the industry's finest here on our panel. I'm going to go ahead and get things kicked off. I'm your moderator. I am DJ Keelez. I am based out of Los Angeles, California. I do private events, weddings, festivals, nightclubs, a little bit of everything. Wherever you need music, I will be there. I'm also an LGBT event and wedding expert. I also specialize in multicultural weddings. Do a little bit of everything. I like to know a little bit of everything. So there you go. Let me go ahead and pass things over to who I have on my right-hand side here. It's going to be KrisCut. Let them know where you're from, Chris.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is DJ KrisCut. I am currently a Las Vegasian DJ. I've been here for since 2003, rocking parties. I started off in nightclubs, and now I'm leaning more towards the corporate and just chill lounge side. And I am a full-time Twitch DJ as well. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. So hello.
Awesome. Always glad to have you. And Anna, you just popped in the nick of time. Technology. It is what it is. I get it. Let's introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Annalyze. Been DJing about 22 years. Started out as like a club DJ, ventured into the turntablism side of things, and now do everything from corporate events to, still doing some clubs, bars, a little bit of virtual stuff here and there. Not a ton, but yeah, just like your all-around DJ.
Awesome. Love it. And Rundat.
Hey, I'm DJ Rundat. I live in Northern California. I've been DJing for about 12 years, and I really get to do all kinds of events, anything from reggae festivals to weddings to cannabis events to school events, you name it. I'm down to do it.
Awesome. I was just in NorCal for an event this past weekend. Man, it's cold over there, but more power to you. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the mist, but I used to live there for 7 years, but I get it. It was just one of those things, like very beautiful afternoon, but before noon, I don't know how you do it. But is that just this time of year that it's like that, or is that every year? I couldn't remember when I was there.
It definitely can get really cold this time of year. It's cold today here. Where I live, there's a lot of microclimates, so there could be a lot of moisture in the air. And so you always want to be prepared for everything. And I definitely try to remember to bring like these fingerless wool mittens.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So you could, use your hands still, but your hands are not freezing and numb.
Yeah, I've learned to keep some fingerless gloves in my bag too, because you never know. Because even here in LA, if it drops down like below 65, I'm like, my hands are, it's a whole thing, you know what I mean? But I've gotten very thin blood since being in SoCal. So, but I learned layers was the way to go. But anyway, I had like 2 t-shirts and like a sweater. It was a whole thing. But I kept wearing my smart. But anyway, enough about that. Let's chat about DJ stuff, since that's what we're here to do. Which I guess that is DJ stuff to an extent. But I digress. With that being said, we have a group of DJs. This is what we do here in the DJ discussion. We talk all things DJ. So let's go ahead and get in it. I know it's been a crazy year for everybody. We talk about this every single time we're on the discussion, but things just keep going and we just keep chugging along. And I think 2021 has been a very interesting year for everybody, especially in the DJ industry. And I know me personally, my schedule is dying down. I still have some virtual stuff on the books. I still have a select, a few corporate events and some stuff like that. Holiday parties are slowly trickling, and we'll talk about that. I would like to know if you guys have those coming in too. But what is everybody's schedule looking like here? KrisCut, I know you're doing the Twitch thing, and I always like to ask this. And Twitch is still chugging along hardcore, right? You guys are still, I see you guys killing it over there all the time with your trains and your fun stuff that you guys are doing. I saw you were just doing something cool with DJ E-Man and all that stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely have been doing a lot of fundraising for St. Jude's and for breast cancer awareness, and trying to give back in that way is very fulfilling on the platform, because a lot of times people to make Twitch a full-time kind of thing, you rely on your community to support you, not only you, but like, things that you believe in. So like causes like St. Jude and breast cancer awareness are like those things, and, are very, they help the streamer also like to show that, hey, I'm just not necessarily in this, for just for me, because I want to spread awareness about certain causes that I'm into. So that's what has been really great about Twitch too, is like people can kind of see what I'm passionate about besides just, the music. And I'm also trying to think, I've been already doing this for almost like, I think 16 or 17 months. So I've been trying to figure out how can I grow. So I'm trying to see how I could flip the switch for 2022 and bring different content and like try to switch it up and see if it works with my community. So it's still a lot of work in progress.
That's awesome. And then the community's still growing. You guys are still chugging along. You still are actively growing and have the watch. That's amazing. That's so cool. I remember earlier, if you remember when we started these streams, I would ask you, like, I wonder if this is going to go through the pandemic. And I think it has just proven that, everybody's still kind of chugging along. And I see a lot of even big name DJs kind of getting on there. Annalyze, do you do Twitch at all or no? You kind of,
I never really got into it, but I did some like for, I don't know if you know Sophia Lynn, like I did a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So it's like, if I ever need to do stuff too, she's really cool about me coming there to like record, but it's never really been my hustle.
Right. Yeah. And then Rundat, were you ever on Twitch or no?
Yeah, I hit Twitch affiliate. I had set the goal, and we did some collaborations. Remember, we did the Women's Day, BB? You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't jumped back on. Once I got back to live events, I did not have time for that. And there's fun parts about Twitch, and there's parts that I don't really enjoy. So I haven't been very motivated to set back up and do it again. It is something I would like to do. I love the collaborations, collaborating with DJs across the world, collaborating with women, the reggae community. The reggae community is still super strong on there. I like to go on there and support Friday nights. It's fun if I'm at home. I like to actually Shazam songs on Twitch because you can actually do that when you're on your phone, which I think is cool because it helps me as a DJ. So it's kind of like studying.
Well, and like reggae is so hard. I also play like dancehall and reggae. It's so hard to keep up with. They release like a song every hour. Like it is. Yes, those are genres I think for me to keep up on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's really been really helpful because I know I could go on Friday nights, Nice Up Radio that has a bunch of DJs, and DJ Benji from One Wise Sound. He's on there Friday nights, and he is definitely digging through all those new songs and picking out the good ones. So it helps me.
Well, I'm going to need that again. I'm going to need you to send me all this so that I remember.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome to check out.
Yeah. One of the funnest parts about Twitch was like one reason why I was motivated to hit affiliate, which is kind of silly, was my best friend wanted to design my emotes. So I did get to design the Run That one, and I got like a booty popping girl, and like it was kind of fun to go in there and like just pop the little emoji booty girl and like hit the Run That.
That makes a huge difference in community engagement, like having those things that are personal to you. Like I'll go into a channel and somebody will pop in like, "Hi, KrisCut," and they'll pop in the picture of my face and like, heart or something. And it's just so special that, it takes something for them. They have to subscribe to you or get a gifted subscription to actually have those kind of things. So you can see how big your community is growing. So it's really cool function feature of Twitch is those emotes that are very personal to you. So
yeah, very cool. That's a very cool thing that came out of the pandemic. I think is that I mean that's a whole new way to acquire fans as a DJ. That's so awesome to build your brand. So that's so dope. As somebody's shouting out KrisCut fries in the chat box. We all know what this KrisCut fries. Awesome. Well, that's so great. I'm so glad to hear. I know I just like you, Rundat. I have not had the chance to dive into, the Twitch game, but I love seeing everybody on there. I'm guilty of watching it too. I didn't know you could Shazam when I'm on the phone. I haven't tried that yet, but that's a good tip there. I guess a good way to keep up on your music if you guys are looking for ideas there. But veering back to live events, I know a lot of us work in live events, and Annalyze, we're talking a little bit about this off air, but you were saying that you have tons of residencies coming your way right now. Like, things are full swing, in your part of town, LA over there, right?
Yeah. And I acquired most of them during the pandemic, and it was just bars I used to frequent. And they were just like, "Hey, are you ready to start DJing again? Like we could use some DJs here." And like, normally that wouldn't have been like, my kind of thing. I was like a club DJ, you know, because they're like more bar restaurant things. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. And then, you know, a year and a half later, I'm still playing them. So it's worked out. I don't have to leave West LA. Like I'm in Venice and I pretty much don't have to drive more than 2 miles ever. Yeah. And it's turned out really good. Like I've got, five residencies right now.
That's awesome. And then, so how do you go? Because I'm sure people watching, of course, we have a lot of DJs watching. What advice would you give in terms of somebody looking to acquire a residency in their neighborhood? Like what worked better for you? Is it more networking thing? Is it just showing up to the venue or you know, online? What worked?
It's all about who you know. It's not even make friends with like, you know, the bartender or like, you know, the owner or whoever is there, you know, and talk to them. So I guess it's a bit of networking, but it's also just like, they have to really like you as a person and trust you. And then like, it was kind of like some of these spots, like it didn't matter. I told them I've been DJing like, you know, 22 years and they were just like, oh, well, we still need you to like try it out. And then like, you know, try it out. And then they're like, okay, yeah, you're hired, you know? So it's a lot. It's kind of like a lot of groundwork, you know, like there's a little bit more work to it. I mean, unless it's like one of your homies is like,
right.
You know, another good way is like, yeah, like one of your homies, like right now, I just got this residency in Marina and they need other DJs. So for like Fridays and I'm already busy. So I've literally called every single DJ I know on the West Side and I'm like, hey, Friday night, boom, 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 you know? So again, it's really all about like just getting to know everyone, networking and yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, yeah, people don't realize it. It's one of those like, yeah, it's part of the game. Like, you know, it looks a lot easier on paper than I think, you know, it is. And it's true. Even no matter how long you've been in the industry, there's going to be people that are going to ask you questions and audition you. You know what I mean? Well, you know, I've never seen you DJ, you know, that sort of thing, which is frustrating as an experienced DJ because you're like, come on, like, why do I have to do this all over again? But I think, you know, they want.
But I think like I would say like at least once a weekend, I get one person that comes up to me like, yo, I'm a DJ too. How do I get in here? And I'm like, bro, you got to work. Like, I don't know you, you know what I mean? I'm like, you can send me your stuff and I can push it along, but like, it's going to be rare that just my, you know, opinion is going to get you in. Like, you got to talk to a music director. You got to like work your way up kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about who you know. And then once you're there, putting in the work and making sure that, you know, people know. I mean, it's definitely that sort of thing. And then, you know, we were also chatting too about residencies and the need to kind of keep it fresh too. And I think that's one of the parts of residencies people don't realize is that, you know, you're at the same spot every week. And just like you were saying is you have the staff and everybody listening to, you know, that set. So that pressure's on, you know, you have to make them happy. You don't want them to be like, oh, this DJ is playing the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, set playlist. That trap of set playlist is crazy because, you know, as a DJ, you know, talking to bartenders, especially in Vegas clubs, because in Vegas, well, LA too, like you guys get booked for like 4 or 5 hours. So you get into that, okay, I have this set planned. But when the bartenders can tell you what next song this DJ is going to play next, you get a little worried. You're like, oh, I know that this DJ is going to play this. Yeah.
My soul when I hear
that.
It
would crush your soul if you're there. Like, I know what Anna's going to play next. It's going to be this song after this song. Yeah. So I've heard that from like bartenders here in Las Vegas as well too, where they're like, you know, I wish that this DJ would play something different. And it's, I think it's, I don't know if it's because maybe they hear the same songs and not in the same order, or if it's, you know, it is in the same exact order and like people need to like switch it up. So I don't know.
It's a mix of both. I think some people really get stuck in like their power sets and then they want to come flex. So they want to like boom, boom, boom it, you know? And it's like, yeah, you know, those songs go together. You know, it's a power set. You know, it works well. I mean, even AM had those power sets that we all knew he was going to do. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like, it's really tough though to, you know, work out of that and try to work in either new songs or different songs. And I signed up for that. I was talking about it last time, that Crate Hackers, to kind of hope to get new playlists for that stuff. And it's not like cheating the system. It's just like, okay, well, you know, it'd be nice to look at what Keelez is playing. Like, what are you playing at peak hour versus what I'm playing at peak hour? You know what I mean? Is there songs I'm forgetting? Are there songs that, you know, bang that I just don't remember, you know? But I haven't had a chance to dive too deep into it. And what I saw was a little bit more like very kind of superficial, like for a like less experienced DJ, you know what I mean? Like just starting out, and a lot of the playlists were very repetitive, but it would be nice to kind of have more of that, or, you know, and that's what helps when you go check out other DJs, you know, that KrisCut too, like in Vegas, you go see another DJ and you're like, oh my God, I never thought of putting those two songs together.
Oh yeah.
Kind of stuff. So I think that that's important with the residencies is try to get out as much as you can. Or like for me, I listen to a lot of mixes. I listen to like a DJ City mix every day, like when I'm working out, to like hear new stuff. Cause I'm like, oh yeah, that song or this or that, you know?
Yeah, no, it's go ahead, Renee.
I wanted to speak into that. So I did also sign up with Crate Hackers, and the last week or two, I've just been diving into my music really hard and getting organized and exploring different lists and different stuff, and just like coming up with a new system. Really, I feel like I'm kind of starting fresh in a way, and it's exciting because I don't have that powerhouse set. Like I have like a bar playlist, but like I don't play the bars very often. This time of year, I play the bar because that's really one of our only options this time of year for me. And so I like to throw like a theme party, and usually that would be something like 80s onesie party or 90s camo party, or I'm going to do a sexy Sagittarius and I want to play sexy Afro beats, and then I want to get into like some booty hip hop, and then I want to get into some dirty dancehall. And this is like fun for me because this is me, what I want to do. All summer long, I've been playing what everyone else wanted for the weddings and stuff. But with Crate Hackers, for me, it's cool because it's genres that I might not know how to categorize as far as like the EDM stuff. So that's pretty cool. Right. Like the Jack and House, and like I love tropical house. And then there's like cover songs, like EDM cover songs that are really fun and that I've been getting into. So it is a lot of repetitive songs, but they are working to add more variety. And I actually got to do a guest crate, and it's a reggae dancehall crate. So go check that one out.
I'm gonna check that out. I will definitely check that out, because I guess that's too what I was feeling was like I also haven't looked in a couple months. Like I got it back in July and I haven't fully like dove in. Like I got a couple crates at first, but it was just like stuff I already knew. And then I was like, well, it's nice because they also put it in there by like energy and key. So it was like nice because of that. If you make anybody who mixes in key, it was great for that. But then it was just very like, it was just kind of like there, but I'll have to check it out again, especially if there's like, there was no like dance hall crates, or there was no Afrobeat crates, or, even tropical house, which I personally can't stand playing, but I have to play it at a lot of my events. So, I have to stay up on it and constantly have new stuff because they want that like lounge vibe,
Yeah. Yeah. They're also teaching, sharing different hacks that I found really useful. Some I already knew about, but I joined my first like hackathon with them the other night. So it's just like a live hackathon. I don't know. Anyways, so there's different tricks too, like different websites that you could sort your playlist. So I like to just share playlists from say BeatSource or Spotify to BeatSource. A lot of my music starts out in Spotify. That's what I'm rocking every day, all day long, And so I can move a list from Spotify to BeatSource. I could also resort it to do it by energy level, BPMs and all that, and then resave it in Spotify. So there's lots of other little things I'm learning from them too.
Awesome. That's helpful stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I haven't dove into that sort of stuff. I mean, I still have to. I don't even do the Spotify thing. I'm so old school. I'm like, I need the physical files. And like the other day, I did use Spotify as inspiration for a playlist that I was doing for Halloween. But I was like, I looked at the list and downloaded the physical songs because I'm like, I didn't want to trust Spotify. But I know there's a lot of technology out there that I don't know. Are you guys streaming your songs in your sets, or what are your thoughts on that?
I use Tidal. If I have to look something up on the internet. Like I listen to it real quick, but it's not guaranteed like the best quality, which is a little worrisome too. Yeah. And then there's like karaoke versions of the song as opposed to the original. So especially if you're like trying to look for a song you've never heard before, you play it and you're like, is that the right version? And the person's like, nope, it's like some, knockoff by somebody else. So it's that could be a little touchy with that. So
yeah. So the title.
Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was going to say that like I have a 2017 MacBook and it does not like going online when I'm on, like when I have Serato open. So like the idea of actually putting my Wi-Fi on, it either works flawlessly or it's going to glitch. And then it does that Serato thing where it's like ahead. You know what I'm talking about? And then everything and then I can't scratch the rest of the night and then I'm miserable. So I hate it. I mean, I have a brand new laptop too, but I just haven't got it ready yet. But yeah, so the idea of like going online is like just still terrifying. But I do like I always have the cord with me. If there's like some song, especially a private event, or a corporate event, and they need like this song, I always have always have it plugged in just in case I have to play like, whatever song that, they're asking for.
Right.
Yeah. I use it. I use it a little bit. I've been experimenting with it. So with BeatSource, you can now have 1,000 songs downloaded without the internet, and that's come in handy for all the variety of events I'm doing. So I can import or like a playlist from a bride from Spotify into BeatSource, and then I can download all of them and have them ready, and I won't need the internet when I'm at my event. So that's really handy. But I feel the same. I don't have a hard time trusting it. I have a hard time whether the sound quality will be as good. I'm very curious about this because I was all excited and I planned this set list with Tidal. I think it was. I've experimented with a few of them, and I was gonna play this party and play off of the streaming service. And the sound guy told me that it wouldn't sound good. And we were playing on a huge bass system, a Void sound system. And I don't know if you're familiar with those, but they're kind of a big deal in the festival scene around Northern California. And he said, you can't do that. And I had to go he didn't say you can't, but he said it's going to sound bad on this system. And I had to go replan my whole set in between sets. There were 4 DJs. I had to go just backstage and like build a whole new set, and it was really stressful. So I am curious what other people have to say about that and what they've experienced playing streaming, or not even streaming, just maybe like on BeatSource in the locker. This is something maybe I should ask Dazzler. She's our BeatSource girl. But yeah, if anyone has any feedback on that.
Yeah, I do want to say something about those sound guys. Sometimes they have way too much opinion, in my opinion, and they're not always right. To be honest with you, sometimes you have to know your own stuff. So, I did a virtual event the other day, and they had a sound tech guy. I was this huge, 1,000-something person virtual event, and he was trying to tell me that because there's functions on every platform that you can set your settings. So if I had the setting to make my audio clear on, he's like, well, that takes too much bandwidth, and and I'm like, I had to tell him, I said, bro, I've done so many virtual events, and every single one I've had this feature on, and honestly, I won't do a virtual event with it off because I'm not going out like that to sound like that. So I said, more power to you with your bandwidth issue, but it's not really, it's honestly not going to cause a problem. And it was flawless. But sometimes they want to just say something to say something is my point. So if I was you, I would have done a little sound check. I mean, I see your fear. I would have probably done a lot of sound checking first. Say, well, let's test this, buddy. I hear you, but let's see. And then I'll go and fix it. But yeah, that's
years and years of touring with artists. And then there being like some sound tech on stage, even though we have our own, sound tech, we have to listen to like the house one, and it would they would come in and it's like, they're trying to, this is back in the day, like set up my Serato box. And I'm like, bro, I've been doing this for years. I know how to set up my own Serato box. And they're like trying to DI me. And I'm just like, no, it's going to sound like shit if you do that. Like, don't do it. Just don't. Just XLR me, and then sure enough, they'd be like, no, I've been doing this for so many years. I know what I've been doing. I've been doing this as long as you've been alive, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. And then I let them do it. And then they mess up. And then they're like, no, you're right. But yeah, it's something with like the female energy. They're not.
Oh my God. So
They do not do it.
I had a guy the other day who's trying to get sound out of my thing, and he was using a bad cable. And he's like, your mixer's not working. And I'm like, dude, every videographer that's ever come across my path and plugged in has used that part, and they've never had issues. So I said, I promise you, it's a you issue and not a me issue. And he was like, whatever. So I said, just flatter me and switch your cable and see. And he switched the cable, and sure enough, he's like, oh wow, it's working now. And I'm like, oh, shocker.
It happened to me at a wedding back in when was that? August. Almost identical. So I recorded it in Serato just in case. And then sure enough, he was like, oh yeah, man, it was my cord. But still, it was like, I went the extra, level to like go ahead and do that for him, and extra measures. And still though, they're just like, no. Like it's your system. It works always.
I know, it's so funny. It's so funny. I mean, I think, yeah, that's definitely, I would say I know it can be touchy talking about female versus, male and gendering things like that. But yeah, I definitely think being a woman in this industry, the way people talk to you, they always assume you don't know as much as them. I want to say, it's like, I get that feeling a lot.
Sometimes I just play dumb. I'm just like, yeah, I have no idea. And I'll just let them set up everything and sit back.
Yeah, I do all the time.
All right, I'll go get a glass of wine. Like, all right, it's cool.
Oh yeah. So, or sometimes they'll start like lifting. I had one the other day that I had a whole sound guy. And he set my whole thing up. He put the control on the thing. He took it out of the flight case, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like he was just trying to be like overly, I guess, like chivalrous. And I'm like, I will take it.
taping down the cords, lifting things. I'm like, yo, go ahead. Drink. Yep.
I always appreciate when they help me lift the speakers. That's appreciated.
Yeah, that's when I'll be like, okay, you do that. Yeah. Speakers are not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm curious with the height you put your speakers, because I'm hearing different things, and I finally got hydraulic stands, so it helps raise the beautiful QSC speaker up higher. And then I like, okay, put my eyes right here, or like the top of my head to the bottom of the speaker. Like I'm trying to create a system. I'm like, and then to get them even, I'm like, I think I need to bring a tape measure with me. So I'm curious because I think that we don't want them right in people's faces. Say at a wedding, you would want them higher, but I've heard different things. So I'm wondering what you guys do.
I mean, for me personally, it's situational based. I mean, sometimes the ceilings aren't high enough to go high, so you just kind of have to do with what you have to do. I mean, I want to have them high enough that they're like over people's head and not necessarily like blasting in their ear. So I do try to go high, but I mean, honestly, I learned, I try to get it as right as I can, but of all the things to worry about how high my speakers are, just probably maybe like 7 on list. I don't even know if you know what I mean? Like I try to do my best, but what do you guys have any opinion on that? That would be my thing. I mean, I do sound check it. And I guess the way I would answer that is the bigger the room, I would probably have them higher so that it could probably cover the room more. If it was a smaller room, I wouldn't necessarily care that much. That would be the best way that I would answer that question. But anybody else can feel free to chime in here.
I'm 5'2". They're going
I'm short. So.
And that's like it, so that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. I mean, because I had a picture of me where the speakers were pretty much at like my eye level, and I was online, and another DJ reached out in a private message telling me that they should probably be a little higher. And then I was like, oh, thank you. And then I was embarrassed a little, but I'm like, I'm learning. And that was an old picture, and I didn't have hydraulic stands. But then just seeing different conversations online about this, I was just curious, like, where you guys stood on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's technical specifications, and I'm sure if you were a sound person, you could break it down to the science in terms of the square footage of the room versus height. But I'll be honest with you, I think that for anything you post, there's going to be another DJ that's going to come at you and tell you that something is wrong. And I think that's just society that we live in, where people want to act like they know more than you, to say it nicer. I mean, I think there's always that one person that's going to be like, oh, well, this, and you did this, and you did that. Why'd you transition like that? Or I would have done that. You know what I mean? I've learned, for me personally, as a DJ, just being in this industry for so long, and also just knowing what it feels like when you get messages like that, or where you see somebody else's thing and you're like, why was their party like that and mine wasn't? I've just learned to kind of do my own thing and do what works for me.
Yeah.
And say, thanks for the advice, but more power to you. But definitely, I mean, I'm sure you could find a sound guy. I'm sure QSC would probably yell at me and be like, hey, no, there is this that you should do it. But I think it's probably better to know the specifications of your speaker, like how much it's going to throw. Like, okay, this is,
There's probably like a certain frequency. It should be set at this, that, the third. Like, there's probably everything nowhere near the corners of the room. Like,
right.
Sticks in the corners. Like, I'm sure that there's all the things.
Yeah, so we got Brad, go ahead, run that. You can put it in all of Brad's input.
So yeah, Brad, the pro here. The K and K2 have a 90-degree vertical disbursement angle, and then people will block the speaker from projecting farther. So you kind of want them a little higher than the heads in front of the dance floor if you want them to reach the back of the room. But if you want them not to shoot too far, then lower is better. Okay, that's helpful. That makes sense.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I've been curious.
Vertical. Okay.
Keelez, you're muted, hun.
There we go. I knew Brad was cringing back there, so I was like, because I wanted to brace myself in case I had to say something.
Well, perfect place. QSC speakers.
This is where to learn it. This is where, I mean, I knew it was overhead. I mean, I knew higher was better, but it's like, yeah, I just know it's like a whole thing. But yeah, there you go. Awesome. We all learned that. So that's great info right there.
Yeah. I mean, for years, I didn't have stands. in the beginning, like the nearest store to buy DJ equipment would be 3 hours away. So I don't know.
Oh wow, yeah, because you're over there. That's true. It's so funny. If you look back at the way, I mean, I look back at some of my setups from back in the day, and I'm like, I can't believe I used to do that versus like now. It's crazy. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, I would recommend speaker stands. If anything, let's all start with speaker stands. It's very tempting to put them on the floor, but let's not do that. You know what I mean? Only very rare circumstances of that work.
Yeah, or on the table. I used to put them on the table.
Right.
Floor to the table. The progression.
We're all guilty. They were all guilty. It happens. It happens. You know, it is what it is. I think it's a learning experience. And I think when it comes to, I think you all learn your equipment and you learn what works for you and works for your sound and the rooms that you're in, and whether you're a mobile DJ versus, you know, plugging into something else or going, you know, I think we've all learned those lessons too. Like the other day I learned about putting speakers underneath an awning instead of like outside of it, and the sound difference from having the speakers underneath this awning versus if I would have just placed them in front of the awning made such a huge difference that I will never make that mistake again. But it's trial and error. But the whole event, I did a whole event for a few hours with people like, oh, can you turn the volume up? And I'm like, it's so loud in here. But it was just where I was.
Just coming back at you. Yeah.
But, you know, it's things we learn. So it's funny. But that was a good question, though. I think that was a good question. I mean, it's yeah, we all have to learn. I mean, you know, as much as I talk crap about sound guys, they do come in handy. Some people, I should say, not all guys, but some people, they do come in handy in that sense. But yeah, that's good info. That's good info. So, you know, we were talking about this too backstage. We just touched on it right now a little bit in terms of being, you know, female industry and people kind of, you know, questioning your knowledge and everything like that. But I mean, I think the consensus, just like we came here, is really like, I don't think there's anybody who, I think we all stand to learn something from everybody else. So I think it's probably better to approach all these situations and say, hey, listen, some people are going to just want to know more than you. And you just got to be like, okay, cool. Thanks, buddy. And other people are going to be a little more willing to educate you or, you know, learn together. So I think it's just really kind of understanding the different personality types you're going to come across in this industry and being able to show up to it. For me personally, before I go into any event where I know I have to work with a bunch of people, I just take a deep breath and say, let's just hope for the best. But I already know, like I did a triathlon that was in downtown LA. It was at the Staples Center, which is now crypto.com center. Did you guys hear about that? That's a whole different conversation. That is crazy. But I was at the Xbox Live and they're like, yeah, you just go to Xbox Live and that's where you're going to be performing, just right there. And I'm like, okay. But they forgot to tell me all the different stipulations of how I can drive to Xbox Live in downtown LA at 4:30 a.m. when there's a triathlon happening. So I'm like sitting there literally like in the midst of a panic, like almost in tears, just like, could somebody just tell? And of course, nobody knew where the main stage was. Nobody could tell you. They're like, well, there's a stage there and there. And I know, but which one's the main one? These are all stages. So it's very funny, but like eventually it happened, but that's what happens. All the cooks in the kitchen. But lesson from that event right there is even that I don't even have a lesson because I asked 1,000 questions. The lesson is just always expect the unexpected as a DJ. Show up early and understand that even if they tell you a full 15-page thing of something, that might not even apply to you when you show up to the event. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
What about maps? You know, I was just talking with Phil Jacob this week because we are part of the DJ takeover for the Mobile Entertainment Expo in Vegas in February. And I was asking, you know, some logistics of the building. I've never been to South Point Casino. And he pulled up this map. He's like, go to this site. You could see the whole map. And he's like, okay, this is where this is. This is where the party is. And these are where the bathrooms are because I'm hosting 5 hours on stage. And I'm like, okay, so where's the closest bathroom? I'm a mom. I'm a female. And I need to know these things. And he's like, well, here's the map and here's where you'll be. And so that's something I'm thinking for future events too, of like, if you haven't been to the venue, like, where's the map? Can you send me an aerial photo? Can you draw me a diagram? Can somebody meet me and lead me to the right spot?
Oh, yeah. I will. Now I've got
first question. Yeah, where's the bathroom? I go, let me set up and where's the bathroom? That's like pretty much right away.
Yes.
Need to know.
Well, I've taken to doing that exactly. Like every time I'm like, okay, I need you to kindergarten level me. Like I understand that you think I'm going to understand what you're going to tell me, but just act like I'm not going to understand it and dumb it down. Like act like I'm a 3-year-old. I say draw photos if you have to. I am totally cool with that. Just like because I have just shown up so many times to where they're like, yeah, all you do this. It's just like that. And then you show up and you're like, but wait, this is not all this. This is something totally different. So definitely ask questions. Definitely for sure. Even with those maps, sometimes those aerial maps too, it's like you have to have a compass. You show up and you're like, wait, what direction am I coming in from this map? And you're like, whatever. But you know, I think that's the life of a DJ though. The life, especially if you're going to be a mobile DJ and you're showing up to random places. I mean, very rarely do I think people actually know what you're doing. Like you're just like, I'm the DJ. They're like, cool, yeah, nice to meet you. So you're like, okay, figure it out.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is like when they talk to you like you're just dying to play. Like they're like, well, listen, we know you really want to play right now, but like, can you keep the volume down or this or that? And it's like, listen, I'm getting paid just like you. It's not that I'm like itching and jumping out of my skin to like DJ this event right now. Like we're working, we're all working together. You know what I mean? And they almost like talk down to you, like, you're there trying to just like rage and throw a party.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or
Or
what I'm talking about?
what were you say?
Oh, I said, you know what I'm saying though? Like when they come to you and like talk to you like that.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, yeah. Or the best is when they come to you and you've DJ'd for 2 hours to a crowd that's clearly not a dance crowd because you've exhausted every single genre of music that was ever invented to man, from country to everything. And then they come up to you and they say, okay, so I'm going to do this. And then after this, now play something we're all going to dance to. And you're like, do you not think I've been doing that for 2 hours? I've been doing my best. I'm sweating over here. It's like, what do you want from me? And then they expect like all of a sudden you're going to miraculously find that one thing that's going to do it. I think that's always hilarious. But I mean, I think that's one of the things of being a DJ. You can try your best, but when it comes down to it, you're only going to have, only crowds that want to dance are going to dance. There's going to be some crowds that they are just there to be there. And there's like literally, they will stand on the dance floor and they will bob their head. I don't know. Are you guys getting that more and more nowadays? I feel like after the pandemic, I have a lot more people who just stand on the dance floor and talk that way. Like they dance. Like, trust me, I've had some ragers, but I also have them where they're like enjoying the music, but they don't dance. They just kind of stand there and they talk. And that's like their way of showing you. I don't know. Does that happen to anybody else or is that just me?
No, it's definitely a thing. It's a thing for most of my spots. I think I have one spot where people actually dance, but like people they just want to chill. Sometimes you'll get like a couple, like, the drunker ones on the floor, like ready to shake. And then they lose their, they realize no one else wants to dance with them. And then, they're not as hype.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting. I feel like there was a part of the pandemic where I was doing events and I think people forgot how to dance. I think they have not danced for so long that they have honestly not remember. But then you do some and they're like raging and you're like, oh, okay, there it is. But it's very interesting. Like, I feel like there was a little transition period there when people were going out and they're just like, wait, how do I do this? Is this okay to do? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting.
The only thing that can get them on the floor is like, Cupid shuffle, the wobble. And then after that, you're like, all right, I got them. And you throw a banger on and they just disperse. They're just like, gone.
Right.
Instruction songs are pretty much all that is going on. They have to be instructed to do something, right? And then snap your fingers or do the Dougie. And then after that, you're like, well, where do I go?
It definitely isn't like it was pre-pandemic. People were like,
right.
Much more excited to dance and happy to go out and party. But now it's way more chill.
I feel like TikTok has something to do with that too, because I think those 15-second, especially for younger crowds, I think they're so used to dancing for 15 seconds and like, okay, well, what next? I think that they're really just kind of like, at least for younger crowds, I feel like I have to really mix quickly. Like, okay, cool, they had their thing and they have to go, and it is what it is. And then the younger the crowd, the more they're just like, their attention span is so whatever, or like they just want to hear Doja Cat the whole time. And you're like, I can only play Doja Cat, but so many times, kids, but it's a whole thing. But it's because it's TikTok, you know what I mean? They know, those songs from there. So it's kind of funny.
Yep.
But,
I'm experiencing maybe a little mix up of maybe more dancing because they haven't been dancing, so they appreciate it more or something. I don't know. It's interesting because a lot of my weddings were pretty small and there was definitely some small dance crowds that kept dancing, but I also feel like I don't get a lot of really dancey weddings. So it's kind of all over the map. But for me personally, I played at our bar on Halloween. I hadn't played for 20 months. Like literally, I know the exact date the last time I played there. And I was dancing more. I was dancing more on stage. My husband and I were both DJing. So I was on stage dancing while he was DJing. And then I got in the crowd and we had stage dancers. And I mean, it's Halloween. Halloween's usually a little more wild and fun. And people are in costume and get out of their shell a little more or whatnot. But tonight I'm going to an Afrobeat show and I'm going to go support my girl DJ Divinity. And it'll be interesting because it's very rare that I go out not working. It's very rare. So it will be interesting to see how I feel, if I feel like dancing. And Afrobeat's a different vibe too. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see. There's also going to be dance hall. So like, I could definitely get down to that. But I'm partially nervous a little just because I guess more of the COVID, because no one's going to be wearing masks. Like it's an indoor spot. There's that. Yeah, it should be. I'm just like, this is going to be very interesting to say the least. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go ahead, KrisCut. What were you saying?
Oh no, it's like touching on that whole thing too. Like, we tell people, it's like we all went through a traumatic experience, like the whole, like I still am hesitant to be indoors. You get that anxiety because you still don't know what's going to happen going on. You don't, especially I live in Vegas. We're like all in tourist areas, mostly like, I know Rundat, you're like in the north, so you maybe don't get as many tourists. But like I went to like Foundation Room the other day to support DJ CLA. And, nobody's wearing a mask. And I'm like wearing this mask. And, I think it's a whole comfort thing, like to not be, to still accept we're still in a pandemic. And some people like me, because I feel like I feel safer with the mask on most of the time because you don't know where everyone else has been kind of thing. It's just that's in your head now. It's like you have to be careful. So, but like you said, like just the whole thing of we're still in a pandemic. Hopefully this is endemic soon, but just going out is not like how I used to be too. Like you said, Rundat, going out is a big deal now. It's like, do I really want to go out and how many people are going to be there and who's going to be there? So, from a not work perspective. So.
Yeah. I guess when you're working it, you have a more of like, I have to be there mentality.
Yeah, I have to be there. Yeah.
And you have your area, your safe area. I did 8 weddings in August and I felt pretty safe about it. I kept my mask on and I was mostly outside and not too many people come up to me. And I put my mask on when I had it down when they come up to me. It is just different. But being in a smaller bar venue, it'll be an interesting experience. I know when I played our local bar, the owner's super sweet. We're close friends. She brought me this like air purifier, this big air purifier, and put it on stage with me. It's like this HealthMate, like $500 air purifier. And she's like, she brought that for me because I was a little concerned.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why. I mean, I think as a DJ, I think you have to take those extra precautions. Whether not to get political, whether that be vaccinated, wear a mask, whatever you got to do to keep yourself safe. I think we all have to just take those precautions. Like for me personally, I just got my booster because I was like, hey, I'm like, boost me again. Forgot to shoot me all up. That's just because I know I have to be in places and that's my personal thing. I get that's the whole thing. But I just know I'm in a career where I have to be around a bunch of people and I would rather be there because I've been in situations like sometimes I have the mask and then the mask breaks and then I can't leave my set to go. Like if you ever had a surgical mask, sometimes those ear things, you're getting into it and you're like, whatever, or you're trying to like talk in the mic real quick and it's like, boop, and you're like, well, there goes that safety net. You know what I mean? So I think we all just have to, and then hand sanitizer. I will keep hand sanitizer like it's a pistol on my like tissue. Like great song, yep, every time. Like you know what I mean? I can't. I'm not messing around. That's me personally, though.
I mean, my whole thing with that is like I don't know why, in all the clubs I play now, everybody wants to like high five. No more fist bumps. And I'm like, I don't touch you. I don't want to touch you, man. Like even before there was a pandemic, I don't want to touch you. Like,
that's true.
So it is nice that there's like the hand sanitizer everywhere now to kind of like do that because like sweaty hands and all that. And it's like, I don't want to be rude. So I do the bump and then they like, they like,
why do they do that? Why did they do that? Yeah, it's so funny. And then they grab it with like 2 hands. Or I had a guy the other day who came and he asked for my hand. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then he like grabbed my hand and he was like trying to pull me on the thing to dance. And I'm like, what is even happening right now? I haven't had that happen in a while. And I'm like, well, we were not dancing together, sir. And first of all, please let go of my hand. He was almost aggressive with it. Like he did not, like I had to forcefully pull the hand out. And you got to be like, listen, dude, like, first of all, I need this right now. But yeah, people aren't.
I had a guy grab my hat because like I had like a nice hat on and obviously I can't wear it with headphones. So I took it off. I had it set next to my controller. I'm like, DJ my events. Some people are dancing, people are chilling. And he came up and he put it on. And I'm like, whatever. People always do that. Whatever. And then he started walking around the venue. And I was just like, yo, homie, like, where are you going with my hat? So one of my friends was there and was like, yo, give her hat back. He took it, he threw it on the ground and he stepped on it.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we got him kicked out. But still, I was just like, first and foremost, it was a very expensive hat. But secondly, like, yo, you grabbed my hat.
Wow.
Yeah.
People are so funny.
Boundaries are still
We're still
that's crazy.
like, why are you touching people's things? Like,
Yeah, there's some people that definitely didn't get that memo. And there's definitely some people now who might be a little more bolder than they were before. Like, hey, we're out in public, like whatever, you know what I mean? So it's definitely interesting times right now. But that's crazy. That I don't know. Yeah, that's like, and you can't do anything. And that's the worst part. Is as a DJ, like you have to be somewhat professional. As much as you want to like rip that guy or get on the mic and say something, like, you know what I mean? You can only do it so much.
Yeah, and it's a new residency, so I don't want to like make waves. You know what I mean? Right. Like I just started like my third time playing.
Right.
So, yeah, that was livid.
That's crazy. That's upsetting with the hat thing. I mean, this is what we got to deal with, though. But I mean, you know, lesson is, you know, I mean, set your boundaries. Let people know, hey, you know, I guess if you're going to be in a place like that where you're close to people, you got to let people know, hey, you know, keep a distance somehow. Figure out a way to have them keep their distance. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. Yep. Like they really need to have bouncers or something when you're at places like that. Like I've done some events where they have a bouncer like in front of the DJ booth the whole time. Like they need to do that every single time. Because like you just need that buffer of somebody who can just be like, hey, you know, not right now. So, interesting times. Well, that it's great always to hear everybody's experience, and it's always interesting to know that we all kind of deal with the same thing in different ways. But also, it's amazing to know that we still go out there, even knowing we have to deal with this stuff, that we're still able to go out there and we've had such longevity in our careers. You know what I mean? I mean, Anna, you've dealt with this for over 20 years, and it never gets easy. You know what I mean? I'm sure like every night there's always that new story where you're just like, what just happened? Like, you know, and stuff happens that's so crazy. I feel like
right when I think I've seen it all or done it all. Like, man, the other night, real quick, this girl asked me to play a song. She gave me a tip. It was only like $5. I was like, I don't need your $5, you know, whatever. I still played the song. And then she came up to me at the end of the night and started yelling, like screaming at the top of her lungs at me that her and her entire table didn't hear that I played those songs. And I was like, I promise you I played them. And then I started getting like mad about it. It was like end of the night. It was Halloween. I'm tired now too. I've been DJing for 5 hours. And I was like, do you want to see my playlist? Like I kind of lost it, you know, like I was like, I played your song. I did it.
People are so funny. And like, what do you want me to do? Give you the $5 back? Like, what do you want me to do at this point?
I left it on the turntables. I was like, take your money. And then she's like, you're aggressive. And I was like, oh, like I played the song. And then I played 3 more birthday songs with it. Like,
we had the same thing going on Halloween, lots of requests. And I played a song that I had to bootleg off of YouTube. And it was a 1989 Yugoslavian folk pop song, and it was the guy's birthday, and he gave me $190. And my husband's like, what are you doing, like playing these songs? I was like, I don't know, he gave me like a lot of money. I was like, and it didn't kill the dance floor. And then but one thing I noticed about that night is like when they see people coming up and doing it, then the other people are like, oh, I could go up and do that. But I'm pretty nice about it. There were lots of birthdays. And, you know, sometimes I do point to the tip jar actually, because it can be extra work for me. It's stressful. You're taking that chance to go on the internet and bootleg this song. Like it could screw up your Serato or whatever. But something really cool happened that night. At the end of the night, I was done, and this girl was coming up wanting to request something, and I was done, and they kept bringing me more shots of tequila towards the end of the night. They're like, "Here, we'll give you," and it was just getting a little bit like, "Okay, we're done here." But I ended up getting this client, and I'm officiating weddings, and I did an elopement with this girl that had found me at the bar that night. At the end of the night, she was requesting songs. I ended up marrying her in the woods, like officiating their wedding like 10 days later. It was super ironic, but you just never know. So I do try to be nice, but that sounds like a sticky situation, like where she was getting rude and they didn't even hear the songs. They were obviously intoxicated.
Yeah, because it's not like I just played one birthday song. Like I'm not just going to play in the club. I'm going to play like 2 or 3 more, you know, everybody's birthday, and then everybody gets to celebrate, you know, and just get it out the way too, you know, and then, but yeah, I'm pretty open with requests. My thing is I don't get mad when people shove their phone in my face. I actually prefer that because I don't want to talk to you. Like, talking, like I'm going to lose my train of thought. I don't know what I'm playing. Or, you know, I'll forget what I wanted to play next, you know, if I don't put it like in the prepare, you know, on Serato, like, so my whole thing is I'm totally okay with the phone. Plus, like, I don't want you in my space. Like, I don't want you this close to me yelling in my ear.
Have you thought about using one of those new apps? Like, I think it's called Request Now, and there's barcodes.
I was talking about that on the last one here, the last discussion. But yeah, I haven't fully like dove into it, but I think that would be a great idea because then people will leave me alone.
I wonder if you could have a barcode that does multiple things, that like maybe has like your, follow me online and then like request a song, like has multiple options. This is something I'm going to be looking into for when I go to Vegas and to the Mobile Entertainment Expo. I was like, I think I want like a digital business card. Like I would probably want both, but like something that you could just scan.
With that app too, you have to send money with it. Somebody said, is that true? Do you know?
I don't know. Is that the request now?
With the request app, like, so that they scan your like QR code and then they request the song that they want. And I think there has to be like a, they have to pay X amount or whatever.
That's genius. That's actually genius. I try to do the text message thing, and I got really into my set, and I totally realized as like I'm like second to last song, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to look at my phone, and I had like 25 requests. So make sure you're looking at the phone.
Totally. You're like just another thing to deal with. You're already DJing, like, oh man.
I mean, it worked out because they were dancing, but had they not been dancing, I probably would have got some really nasty text messages after a while. But it was like, you got to be careful. But that's genius to have the money though involved. And let's just all be real. For $190, we would all play some Yugoslavian line dance. I don't think anybody would have turned that down. I think we all would have been like, absolutely. I would have been doing the line dance with him. I'd be like,
I would have been on the floor.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
I was like on the mic. I'm like, I don't even know what language this is, but happy birthday.
I would have Googled it. I would have done like Siri playing something. I would have had her shout like, put your hands in the air and whatever Yugoslavian. I would have gotten creative with it. You know what I mean? What you got to do. Give me some more, funny. That's hilarious. All right, cool. Awesome. Well, we're winding down on time. You guys are great. Always great to chat with you guys and see what everybody's up to and, learn. So I feel like every time we talk, we learn something new. I mean, I'm going to go check out that request now thing and see what that's all about. That's a very interesting thing to do. I'm also going to learn to never wear a hat to an event. I learned very, very
Don't
nice.
take off your hat.
Don't take off your hat. That's very good advice. But as I do like to end every session with giving some advice, since we are all the DJs, we have DJs of all levels on our chat watching us, and that will rewatch this. So let's all kind of end here, say our goodbyes, introduce ourselves. Let's reintroduce ourselves, say goodbyes, let everybody know where we're going to be for the week, and then end with some cool advice or whatever you want to let people know. I will start to give you guys an example. So once again, you guys, I'm DJ Keelez. I'm the moderator here at these QSC DJ discussions. We have several different moderators that host these amazing DJ discussions every few weeks. So stay tuned, catch them. You will grab some nuggets from real life situations that we all deal with. So definitely tune in here. Always want to say thank you to QSC for having us and allowing us the opportunity to be a part of this and to educate you, and also to get education ourselves, to also learn how high to put our speakers. Thank you for that, QSC. But again, I'm DJ Keelez, based out of Los Angeles, specialize in high energy, super fun weddings and events. And the one piece of advice that I would give everyone is to focus on yourself, worry about you and perfecting your craft. And don't put too much energy on what you see on social media, because it will drive you nuts. And understand it's really easy to take a 10-second clip and make it look like a raging dance party, but that party went for hours. So those 10 seconds, you don't know what happened for the other like 2.5 hours after that. So don't take it to heart. Do your best, but do you, and you will do great and you will thrive. So that's the best advice I can give. KrisCut, what do you got for us?
Again, I'm DJ KrisCut from Las Vegas, Nevada. I just want to say thank you to QSC for always inviting me to be a part of the panel with these lovely ladies, always a mix of ladies all the time. And it's great to pick your brains, ladies, and see your insights as well. And the one thing I would tell people is to just remember that happiness is a choice. If there's something bringing you down in life, you can choose to either, go down that road and spiral, or you could try to find ways to pick yourself up or find people to help you, because, we're still in a crazy world right now. Things are getting a little crazier. Just remember to try to latch on to something that makes you happy and stick with it. And remember, happiness is your choice.
Love it. Awesome. All right, Rundat, what do you got?
Hey, I'm DJ Rundat out of California. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, QSC, ladies. One thing I wanted to touch on, so I have a couple really big gigs coming up. One is the Emerald Cup Harvest Ball in Northern California in December. And the other one is Mobile Entertainment Expo in Las Vegas in February, where I will be hosting the DJ Takeover. So these are two really big events for me. I'm super duper excited, a little nervous, which is normal. I'm going to be spending all my time preparing for these. But what I wanted to say, the advice here is do the scary things. Say yes to these opportunities that scare you, because that's how we're going to grow. And also, don't be afraid to ask for gigs, because that has been probably my number one growth secret, is asking. Just having the courage to just say, hey, can I play? Can I open up? Do you need an opening DJ for Shaggy? I got you. And now I'm at the point where where I'm getting asked to play, and it feels really good. So, when you're starting out and you want gigs, just be bold and fearless and ask to play.
That's awesome. I love that. And you're going to kill it in Vegas. So don't stress. You're going to do amazing. That's awesome. And then, and just so people know, if you're listening, she's referring to the mobile, is it DJ Expo? What's it called now? What's the new name?
Mobile Entertainment Expo, which is the Photo Booth Expo, which bought Mobile Beat Expo, and it's combined. So Mobile Entertainment Expo, February, Las Vegas.
There you go. So that's a great convention to check out if you want to learn some DJ stuff. And there's actually one happening right now. It's called the DJ Collective that you can virtually catch. I think that's in Arizona right now, but that's actually currently this week. So if you want to check out some content there and grab that virtual package, there you go. But Rundat in February in Vegas. Check her out. Follow her on social media for all this info. It's going to be a great time. And Anna, close us off here. What do you got to say?
Oh, what's up, everybody? Annalyze here, coming to you from Southern California. I guess my advice would be to just be yourself as much as you can be, and try to practice as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, whenever you think that like you're the best, there's someone better. So just keep practicing.
That's great advice. Absolutely. That's solid advice for sure. Definitely. And that's coming from somebody who's been in the game for a while, you guys. I've been watching Anna since before I was a professional DJ, so I know for a fact that that's solid advice, and I got to take it myself because I need to practice more. That's a conversation we always have. But anyway, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much again. And once again, thank you, QSC. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, DJs, for being a part of the panel. We really appreciate you all, and we will see you guys very, very soon for another DJ discussion here on the QSC page. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.